everyone, welcome to APS Deep Academy and this is your mentor Swati Joshi. In this class, we will study about half-wave rectifiers. Now, here a circuit of half-wave rectifier is given. In this, we can see that one transformer is connected to the diode and the load resistor. Rectifier circuits are used to convert AC signal or the alternating current to the pulsating DC. Now, we will see the circuitry or the working explanation of this circuit. Now here we can see that a transformer is connected, this. So primary and secondary coil are present in the transformer. We know that the output of transformer depend on the number of coils inside it. So it is a step down transformer and the ratio let's consider as 10:1. What it means that in primary coil, if the voltage is high or 100 volt, it will convert in it will secondary coil will receive the voltage and make it to the ratio of 1, which is nothing but 10 volt. So if I am considering 100 volt of input here, so at secondary I will get only 10 volt. So peak to peak voltage is reduced by the step down transformer. So this is our first task to do when we apply AC input to conversion with a rectifier. We are just lower downing the peak of the input voltage. So we are using here a step down transformer, and this transformer also creating a separation from circuitry to the alternating current, direct alternating current, which is coming to the circuit. So it is a separation between the diode and the diode circuitry and the input AC. Okay. So now what is happening? Let's see. If it is in positive half, it means if the current is in positive half, it means diode is conducting and current flow towards the circuit, we will get the output. And if the AC input is in negative half, so we have reverse polarity across the secondary coil, and the diode will work as reverse bias and no current will flow at output. So this is the basic mechanism in the system we are following. So we know that diode is a unidirectional device, so it can flow current in one direction only when it is in forward bias. Here we can assume that if it is an ideal diode, so the resistance over the ideal diode is minimal. So whole the input which is we are receiving at secondary is coming towards the output. Now here we are simplifying this diagram to this one, and this secondary output we are considering here as this. So this is the output of secondary transformer and input voltage is in sine wave form, which is V sine omega t. And this waveform is traveling towards the diode. And when the polarity across this secondary coil is in this manner, this is plus and minus. So this is creating this diode forward bias and we are getting the output node here. Now if the polarity reverse, let's suppose this in negative cycle, now the diode will not work and it act as a blocking bias. So what we will get? We will get nothing at the output. So the lower portion or the negative half of the output is rectified from the half wave rectifier. Now let us see the output once again. So this is the output figure we are getting from the half wave rectification process. So here we can see that it is in between, one cycle is in between 0 to 2 pi. Okay. So this is our output picture. So here we clearly see that if input is in positive or negative both half, output we are receiving only in the positive half, and the cycle or the time period or the waveform period which is taken from 0 to 2 pi. Clear? So what is the so this is the output voltage, and we know that it is sine omega t as we discussed earlier. Now what will happen? Let us discuss it in detail. See, now what is peak inverse voltage? What is PIV or term considered as peak inverse voltage? What is peak inverse voltage? The voltage we are getting at output. Okay, now we are considering this, how much peak it is. So this is the peak inverse voltage. At output we are getting the peak inverse voltage of Vs max. Clear? Vs here the voltage at the secondary. So whatever the voltage are coming to the secondary coil of the transformer, we are getting it the maximum value of that we are getting at the output. As we already discussed with you that the diode resistance is minimal and the load resistor, whatever the current is coming, whatever the voltage level is coming from the secondary coil, it is directly transferred towards the output voltage or the load resistor. So peak inverse voltage here is Vs max. Now what is peak inverse current? How much current? The maximum current which flowing towards the circuit, peak inverse current. So peak inverse current is nothing but I max sine omega t. Okay, here we can see that we are using the term sine omega t because output either it is rectified but still it is a pulsating DC. So we are considering sine omega t. We know that negative half is removed. So sine omega t, so there are two values of the two ranges of the output. Let's see. Peak inverse current is I m sine omega t. Okay, so here if the omega value range between 0 to pi, then we will get this current. If omega t is in between pi to 2 pi, then it will be 0. Why so? Because in negative half the waveform is removed or waveform is rectified with the process of rectification. So in between 0 to pi we will get Im sin omega t, or beyond pi we will get 0. Beyond pi till 2 pi we will get, or the pi to 2 pi we will get 0 as the output. Now we will discuss a little bit about output current. Okay, what will be the output current? Okay, now what will be the DC output current? DC output current is nothing but IDC, clearly. So IDC here is 1 upon 2 pi, because we are, ranging, because the period of a one sine wave is 0 to 2 pi. So we are integrating the area 0 to 2 pi IDC omega t. Clear? So this is the DC output current of half wave rectifier. Now we have to simplify this. 1 upon 2 pi, we know that IDC is nothing but I max output current. Okay, DC output is I max sine omega t. Okay, and the range is 0 to 2 pi. So what is happening? We have to do a process of integration here. What will do if I do a particular integration here? See, 1 upon 2 pi, we know that beyond pi it will be 0. So we can only consider 0 to pi. In 0 to pi, it is I max sine omega t, and the range is in 0 to pi. And beyond that, the integration will be 0. Whatever the limit is, integration will be 0. Why so? Because the current element is 0. So here 1 upon 2 pi, we know that integration of sine omega t is nothing but minus cos omega t. So I max sine omega t is nothing but minus cos omega t. So it is in range between 0 to pi. So if we put the values of 0 to pi in cos omega t, what we will get? We will get 1 upon 2 pi I max, negative is there. So cos pi is minus 1, minus cos 0 is 1. So if we remove the negative sign here, we will get 1 upon 2 pi I max 1 plus 1, which is nothing but 2. If this 2 is cancelled out with each other, then we have IDC is equal to I max upon pi. If we put the value of pi here, what we will get? We will get 0.318 I max. So this is the value of IDC, which is our DC output current. Clear? I max upon pi, which is nothing but 0.18 I max. We have to put the value of pi here. Okay. Now we will discuss the RMS current. What is RMS current? This was our DC current value. Now RMS value of current. What is our RMS? So RMS current is nothing but I max by 2. We know that RMS is nothing but root mean square. If we are considering root mean square, it means we are considering all the harmonics which are coming into the output. So we have to divide it by 2. Why so? Because in I max we have few AC component and few DC component of the current. So if I am taking the mean of that, we have to divide it by 2 because few component are AC in the output and few component are DC in the output. Clear? So I max by 2 is our nothing but IRMS, which is root mean square current. Now voltage, RMS voltage. What is RMS voltage? Similarly, Vs max by 2. RMS voltage is nothing but Vs max by 2. Similarly, here also we can consider that Vs is are nothing but the voltage in secondary. So this Vs is directly transferred to the output. So Vx max divided by 2 means all the harmonics which are coming in voltage up and down, the peaks of high and low, we are considering the mean of that. So Vs max by 2 is our Vrms. So here we consider IRMS, Vrms, IDC and VDC. Let's quickly discuss what we will do earlier. So from here DC output current, we calculated it 1 upon 2 pi because 1 upon 2 pi 0 to 2 pi integration of IDC omega t. Why so? Because we are ranging it from 0 to 2 pi. After that integration, we put some values and we get IDC equal to 0.13 Imax. Okay. Now IRMS and VRMS we already calculated. Now we have to find out the form factor. Okay. What is the form factor of the half wave rectifier? Another term is form factor. Form factor is the ratio of RMS to average value. Okay. So form factor is denoted by Kf and it is nothing but IRMS over IDC. Clear? We know both of the values. IRMS is our current, which is root mean square of output current, and IDC is our output DC output current. Okay. Now the last we have to discuss for today is ripple factor. What is ripple factor? The most important term from which we can decide how efficient this half wave rectifier is. So we will discuss now ripple factor rectifier. So ripple factor is gamma, which is the ratio of IAC over IDC. Clear? So harmonics present in AC over DC. Ripple factor, what ripple factor means? Ripple factor is that how many AC component present in the output waveform or how many DC component present in the output waveform. So if we take the ratio of that, we consider those as ripple factor of the particular circuit. So IAC over IDC. Now IDC is our DC output current, we know that, and IRMS, which is root mean square or total output current, is nothing but IAC plus IDC. So if I have to calculate IAC from here, IAC is nothing but IRMS minus IDC. We know that IRMS is root mean square value. So finding final IAC, we have to put a under root and a square in these because IRMS is our root mean square value. Now we have to put this value of IAC and IDC in our ripple factor formula. So what we will get after putting, we will get IRMS square minus IDC square divided by IDC, and this will be in under root. Okay, if we simplify more, what we will get? If we simplify more, we will get IRMS over IDC, similarly under root and square, minus IDC square under root IDC. So if I remove square and under root from this, it will become IDC. So it is cancelled out and become 1. Now we have left with IRMS. If I take square root in denominator also, so this has become like that, square of both minus 1. Now a term we studied earlier, which is form factor. What was our form factor? Kf. Kf is our form factor, which is nothing but IRMS upon IDC. So we simply, now for more clarification, we have to solve little bit of for Kf. So IRMS is nothing but, what is our IRMS? Is our root mean square value. We already calculated. What is IRMS? Root mean square current, and root mean square current is nothing but I max by 2. Clearly, this is our IRMS, already we calculated earlier. And the second one, IDC, DC output current we calculated. So IDC is nothing but I max by pi. If we put these two values in the equation, what we will get? Okay, these two values in our equation. So let's say Kf is IRMS. IRMS is Imax by 2. Now, if this is in divide, we have to put pi in numerator and Imax in denominator. So this will Imax will be cancelled out with Imax. So this is pi by 2. Kf is nothing but pi by 2. And if we calculate, put the value of pi here, and this value will come as 1.55. Yeah. Now we can put this value of Kf directly in the equation here. Okay. So ripple factor is nothing but 1.55 square minus 1 here. Clear? So if we further calculate it, we will get the value of 1.21 for ripple factor. So the ripple factor of half wave rectifier is 1.21. Now ripple factor is we know that it is ratio of AC component present in the DC component present in the particular waveform. So ripple factor is the basic criteria from which we decide that how much efficient this particular rectifier is. So half wave rectifier is not that much efficient because the ripple factor is more than even 1. So the less the ripple factor, more the efficiency. Okay. So here we discuss the few formulas and half wave rectifier. Let us discuss few disadvantage and advantage also. Advantage, as we also know, that it is used for rectification, and similarly the disadvantage is the ripple factor is very high. So we have to, and the waveform is in pulsating DC. So we have to go for another one, which are full wave rectifiers. So we will discuss full wave rectifiers in our next class. Till then, thank you, bye bye, and stay connected, subscribe, like and join. Thank you so much.